Still in Africa, South Africa's government has said it will release the preliminary findings of its review of stiff tariffs next week, moving a step closer to protecting the local industry from increased imports. The review was initiated by the International Trade Administration Commission (ITAC) in March, following a ministerial directive. ITAC Chief Commissioner Ayamboga Kawe said the organization had received around 150 responses for the review, while more than 600 tariff codes are under review. Kawe added that ITAC needs to determine whether its various current steel duties are providing appropriate protection, whether more steel products need to be under import control, and whether to declare an emergency to trigger broader safeguard measures. Still on African stories, the African Union has backed a campaign to end the use of governments and international organizations of the 16th century Mercator map of the world in favor of one that more accurately displays African size. Created by cartographer Gerardos Mercator for navigation, the projection distorts continent sizes, enlarging areas near the poles like North America and Greenland, while shrinking Africa and South America. The correct of the map campaign led by advocacy groups Africa. The correct the map campaign led by advocacy groups Africa No Filter and Speak of Africa has revived the debate, urging organizations to adopt the 2018 Equal Earth projection, which tries to reflect countries' true sizes.
There's a very tangible link between the map and perception, because undermining and showing a reduced continent and a smaller continent very much undermines also that false perception of importance and power on the global stage.
Ferran Diaye, the co-founder of Speak of Africa, speaking there. Away from Africa now, South Korea has said it intends to restore an agreement suspending military activity along its border with North Korea and revive inter-Korean cooperation as President Lee Jae-myung attempts to dampen soaring tensions over Pyongyang's nuclear program and deepening ties with Russia. Lee, in a televised speech, said to prevent accidental clashes between South and North Korea and to build military trust, the country will take proactive gradual steps to restore the 2018 September 19 military agreement.
It's time to restore our democracy, which has been destroyed by armored vehicles and rifles. No matter how costly, peace is better than war.
Marking the 80th anniversary of Korea's liberation from Japanese colonial rule today, Lee said they will seek to restore the so-called September 19 military agreement and rebuild trust with North Korea. You're listening to Global Box at Adamimogo 107.7 FM, transmitting live from Olojudo's Palace, Ido-Ekiti. Still to come, Trump Putin to spar over Ukraine peace, arms control at Alaska summit.
Hello, good people of Ekiti State and its environment. For your private, political, family, or club meetings, and so on, of not more than 50 to 100 participants, we introduce to you Adamimogo Event Hall. Yes! Right at Olojudo's Palace, Adamimogo 107.7 FM's compound, Ido-Ekiti. Ample parking space, good security, clean environment. You also have the opportunity to book for a media publicity of your event on our fast-growing social media platforms. All these for a talking. Simply visit us at Olojudo's Palace, Ido-Ekiti, or call the following numbers for more inquiries: 0803 526 5812 or 0916 340 0878 or 0806 511 4430. You can also call 0806 380 8891 at Adamimogo Event Hall. We are waiting for your patronage.
Glad to know you are still there. You can subscribe to our YouTube channel via Adamimogo 107.7 FM. For happenings around you or news inquiries, please call our newsroom on this number 0915 786 8095. Now to the rest of the bulletin. Hong Kong judges have postponed the trial of media tycoon Jimmy Lai until he is provided with a heart monitoring device and related medication. The decision today marked the second delay to the case this week after his lawyer said he had suffered heart palpitations. The 77-year-old founder of the Apple Daily newspaper is charged with foreign collusion under Hong Kong's national security law, which Beijing imposed following widespread pro-democracy protests in 2019. United States President Donald Trump has renewed his promise to save jailed Hong Kong tycoon Jimmy Lai, who is on trial for alleged national security crimes over his pro-democracy activism and antipathy towards China's Communist Party. Trump made the promise in a radio interview in the U.S.
I think talking about Jimmy Lai is a very good idea. We'll put it down as part of the negotiation. I am going to do everything I can to save him.
His remarks came as closing arguments in Lai's high-profile trial. Closing arguments have been pushed from today to Monday after Lai's lawyer said he had experienced heart palpitations, marking the second in as many days after Hong Kong courts were closed due to bad weather. California Governor Gavin Newsom led a campaign-style rally yesterday for a redistricting plan to foil what he called President Donald Trump's bid to rig the next congressional race and cement his Republican House majority by redrawing the political map of Texas. Newsom, while speaking at the rally, said his proposal, aimed for a special ballot on November 4, would create 5 new Democratic U.S. congressional seats in California, offsetting any seats Republicans can gain at Trump's behest by redrawing district lines in Texas less than 4 years after they were last revamped.
On November 4th, a special election coinciding with a lot of local municipal elections to provide a temporary pathway for congressional maps. We will affirm our commitment to the state independent redistricting after the 2030 census, but we're asking the voters for their consent to do midterm redistricting in 2026, 2028, and 2030 for the congressional maps to respond to what's happening in Texas, to respond what Trump is trying to excite.
The completing plans in California and Texas come ahead of the November 2026 midterm elections, where Democrats are hoping to win back control of the U.S. House of Representatives. Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin will today hold talks in Alaska, with the U.S. president's hopes of sealing a ceasefire agreement on Ukraine uncertain, but with a last-gap offer from Putin of a possible nuclear deal that could help both men save face. The U.S. president had claimed Vladimir Putin is not going to mess around with him ahead of the summit, claiming that the meeting would be a good one as it is their second meeting together.
If I weren't president, in my opinion, he would much rather take over all of Ukraine. But I am president, and he's not going to mess around with me. We have a meeting, President Putin tomorrow. I think it's going to be a good meeting, but the more important meeting will be the second meeting that we're having. We're going to have a meeting with President Zelensky, myself, and maybe we'll bring some of the European leaders along, maybe not. I don't know that it's going to be very important. We're going to see what happens. And I think President Putin will make peace.
Trump, who once said he would end Russia's war in Ukraine within 24 hours, said yesterday that the 3.5-year conflict had proven a tougher nut to crack than he had thought. Meanwhile, Russia and Ukraine exchanged 84 prisoners each on yesterday, with both sides confirming it is the latest in a series of swaps that have seen hundreds of prisoners of wars, POWs, released so far this year. This latest one came on the eve of a high-level summit between Russian President Vladimir Putin and U.S. counterpart Donald Trump in Alaska today. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said on social media that among the exchanged prisoners were both military personnel and civilians, some of whom had been held by the Russians since 2014, 2016, and 2017. Now to sports. The world's first ever humanoid robot games has begun today in Beijing, with over 500 androids alternating between jerky tumbles and glimpses of real power as they compete in events from the 100-meter hurdles to Kung Fu. Hundreds of robotics teams from 16 countries are going for gold at the Chinese capital's National Speed Skating Oval, billed for the 2024 Winter Olympics. According to reports, the games include traditional sports like athletics and basketball, as well as practical tasks such as medicine categorization and cleaning. At one of the first events earlier this morning, in a 1,500-meter race, domestic champion Unity's humanoids stormed along the track at an impressive clip, easily outpacing their rivals. And with that sports story, we end this edition of Global Box on Adamimogo 107.7 FM Ido Ekiti. Just before we go, the highlight again. We told you that the Nigerian Labour Congress (NLC) has raised the alarm over alleged mismanagement in the Nigerian Social Insurance Trust Fund (NSITF), accusing the federal government of diverting 40% of workers' contributions to the national coffers as revenue, in flagrant violation of the statutes establishing the agency. We also told you the African Union has backed a campaign to end the use by government and international organizations of the 16th century Mercator map of the world in favor of one that more accurately displays African size. Finally, we brought to you that US President Donald Trump and Russia's Vladimir Putin will today hold talks in Alaska, with the US President's hopes of sealing a ceasefire agreement on Ukraine uncertain, but with a last gap offer from Putin of a possible nuclear deal that could help both men save face. That's Global Box from Adamimogo 107.7 FM, Olojudo's Palace, Ido Ekiti. On behalf of the production crew led by Oladoyin Ayegusi, I am Folawumi Olaniyan. Good afternoon.